Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Max Story.
Hello, and thanks for watching or listening to the Real People Getting Real Results. And I got a really special guest today. It may end up being a comedy show with this guy here. I don't know. I kind of hope so. But I'm going to just jump right in because I'm already smiling and laughing. I'm so happy that you're on the show, Eric. So this is a good friend of mine, Eric Alonso-Bernal. I don't say it right at the end. I call him Eric, and his wife calls him Eric. And most everybody he knows calls him AB. But I'm probably going to still call him Eric because that's 22 years of being Eric to me. So I'm glad you're on the show, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
It's awesome. I just can't quit smiling. You and I always.
Yes. we always known each other for a long time.
Yeah, I had a good time. So I always ask my guests at the beginning to just share how did we actually come to know each other, you and I?
So we went together to a college for our bachelor's degree down there in Montgomery, Alabama. That's where we met.
Yeah, it is, man. And that was 2002, right?
2001, 2002. Yeah. One of those right after 2000.
Yeah, I think it was 2002 because I remember I left. We graduated in December, and then I left the company that I was at in 2003 in February. I took that degree and got to work with it.
Yeah, you still have your little loud Camaro car back in those days.
Oh, yeah, that Z28, the supercharged Z28.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So I made pretty much straight A's in there. I must have been cheating off you.
Well, I don't know who was cheating off each, but we both got straight A's. Or maybe it was a really easy program. I don't know, but we got straight A's. We did good.
That's probably what it was. It's probably probably teachers letting us just feel sorry for me. I don't know what for you, maybe. Hey,
we did good.
So real quick, what caused you to say yes when I asked you to be a guest on here? Because I'm really glad that you are on here.
Well, I mean, we've known each other for a while. Even after we went separate ways, we've seen each other back in Nellis Air Force Base and stuff. We've kept in touch. I've seen your transformation, and I've seen all the good stuff they do for people. So if in any way my input or my lab can help anyone, then I'm happy to help, a little bit of what you and Rhea are doing. You're doing great stuff. So
outstanding. So one thing I noticed, I was reading some of the information you sent me ahead of time, and you probably shared that with me back 22 years ago. I don't remember a lot of it, but I'm going to jump ahead in your bio, but we're going to go back as far as you want to go. Cause I'd love to hear, some of your personal story, the young days. And
yes,
first thing I want to know though, is when I read in there, when you come to the US, you didn't even know how to speak English. And then you went and took some English courses.
That is correct.
And the English teacher didn't know how to speak Spanish, and you didn't know how to speak English, but y'all figured it out.
Correct. Yes.
What year was that?
What year was that? That was in, let me see, because, well, it's kind of a long story, but that was around 1995, yes.
Okay, because I knew when I met you in 2002, you already could speak better English than me.
I don't know about that. I'm still learning English. That's what I keep saying. People, how you say that you speak two languages, and mine I still have a strong accent. So, I'm still learning.
Yeah, I speak English and country. I'm bilingual.
Yeah, I had three. I got you by one: Portuguese, Spanish, and English. English not so well. Spanish not so well. Well, neither one of them I speak very well. So, I don't know.
So take me back. I want to just say first, I'm so proud of you. You retired. What was it, last year you retired as a lieutenant colonel from the Air Force?
2022.
Oh, 22. Yes. Okay, so it's been just a little bit.
Yes.
Time's flying by, man. So I'm really proud of you for that. But take me back to Mexico City. That's just I was watching I looked up YouTube the other night for some reason. I was like, I just want to know a little bit about Mexico City. So I just got on there and, searched it up, and man, that's a big place. That's a big place.
It's a beautiful city. Unfortunately, it's very polluted. But to go on vacations is a very, very nice place to go on vacation. I love. I still have family down there. I love going back. I was born in Mexico City. My mother was from the north of Mexico, and my father was from Mexico City. So I was born in Mexico City. That's where they met, and that's where I was born. So what else you want me to tell you? Like my story from starting from there, or
Yeah, man. If you whatever you want to share, that'd be great because
all right,
because knowing where you come from kind of gives where you ended up more meaning, right? I always tell people I call that the foundation. The stuff that I read about you in your bio, the tough times and all that stuff. I like to share much of that because that's your foundation, man. That's what makes everything else mean so much. Like Ria's story. People who don't know her story, where she's at now, don't mean so much till they know her story. But once they know her story, it means more. So yeah, share that foundation of
all
how.
right. So I was born in Mexico City. I was born into what you will consider a middle class family in Mexico. Few years after I was born, my father became an alcoholic. He had a second family, and so he was going back and forth between the two families. He became an alcoholic. He lost his job, and so he was drinking a lot, smoking a lot, and he ended up dying or passing away when I was 8 years old. So from then forward, my mom had to pretty much take charge of the family, and she was working long hours. She had three different jobs. So she was working as a secretary, she was working as a waitress, and then she was taking work home to be able to, pay for food and clothes for me and my brother.
Wow.
So from there, she had to work all day. So my brother and I was 8, he was 9. We pretty much grew up ourselves. She didn't have money to pay for a babysitter, so she would just go to work, and we just figured it out by ourselves. So we lived there for a while. Things kept getting worse and worse. And finally, my mother, after seeing that, well, this is getting bad, she decided to move up north with her sisters to get some help. So I think I was in what in the United States is considered junior high when we moved up north. So
Okay.
that was in Coahuila. We moved over there. We moved in with an aunt because we didn't have nowhere to live. We just sold everything we had in Mexico City. We moved to Piedras Negras, Coahuila. So we were there for a little while. I decided I didn't want to live in that small town. I like the big city. So I went back to Mexico City to finish my high school over there.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Did
yes,
your
I
brother
went
go
back.
too, or just you?
No, no, just be by myself. Yeah, I just went back. I moved in with an uncle, and I finished my high school over there in Mexico City. My plan
Okay.
was to go to the university in Mexico City, but I got in trouble over there doing things that I didn't supposed to be doing, so I had to move.
No
So I
wonder
moved
we
up
were
north.
friends.
Yeah, I got into some fights and stuff, and I just it was there were issues. Yeah, that's how we were friends. We were kind of the same. So, anyways, I moved back with my mom for a while, and then my brother was going to college in Monterrey, Mexico, and so I wanted to go there, uh, but I couldn't go right away because he was ready to. By the time that I moved back, it was too late for me to go to college in Monterrey. In the meantime, my mother had met this guy. He was Mexican American from Eagle Pass, Texas, from United States. So
Yep.
they got married. They moved to United States. I went to college in Mexico, in Monterrey, Mexico, and I was studying international relations with
Okay.
a minor on international business. So
Okay.
that's what I was studying in Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico, for about a year and a half or so. And I realized that my friends were graduating, but they couldn't find any jobs. There was no jobs to have. So they were selling tacos on the street. They were doing other things. So I was telling my mother, like, hey, what's the point of me going to college in Mexico or even getting a degree if I'm gonna end up selling tacos on the street? Might as well just go ahead and start my business right now.
Get your
So
truck and get going.
yeah, get my truck, get going. So my mother, she was big on education. She wanted to get my degree. She said, no, let's talk to your stepdad. Let's see if he can sponsor you to come to United States. So we started that process, and that's how I came to United States. Leo, my stepdad, he sponsored me and my brother. We both came to United States. We started working in a restaurant as waiters.
Okay.
Now, in Eagle Pass, most people in Eagle Pass speak Spanish.
Oh, so you
But
were
in this
okay.
I was okay for some part, but the things that this restaurant was located in a hotel where they used to go a lot of hunters. There's a lot of people that come from north to go hunt in those areas of Texas. So a lot of them didn't speak Spanish. So that kind of forced me to learn.
Hey, let me
And
interrupt you real quick. I just want to ask
yes,
you, while you're talking about that restaurant, you reminded me. I don't know if you knew, because it happened later, and we've kept in touch all these 22 years, but sporadically, right? And
yes.
whenever we talk, it's just like today, like we've been talking every day. So it's pretty cool. But I don't know if I ever told you this. Some point I think it was 2007 or 8. I 3 different weeks I worked for a week in Monterey. 3 different times I led Kaizen events down there, and
Okay.
I'm just curious if you there's some streets in Monterey. I have no idea where it's at, and I know that's a fairly big city, but there's some streets down there somewhere that they're all named after the states in the United States. There's a section of town. Are you familiar with that by chance?
No, I'm not
Kind of
sure.
upper
Where would that
class.
be?
I went to
Yeah, I didn't go to those places.
it seemed upper class to me. The folks at the manufacturing plant took me out to dinner. They love me, Eric. The Mexican
Yeah.
folks down there, they try to get me to go to their house. They say,
Well,
you got to come to our house and get drunk with us. That's when I drank. I hadn't drank since 2012, but they like, you got to come to our house. We have a party, man. They said, we ain't never met an American like you. You the nicest guy. You got to come party with us. I was like, I can't do that, but we can go to the restaurant and drink or whatever. So they
yeah,
took me over to this place, and there was a restaurant. I mean, it was a phenomenal restaurant, even compared to the nice restaurants in big cities here in the U.S. The name of it was, if I remember right, was Oceans. It was a seafood restaurant, but
Okay.
it's like one of the best seafood restaurants I've ever been in. Anyway, I don't want to hijack the interview. I was just curious if
Oh
you
no,
knew
it's
about it.
fine. Yeah. No, I didn't. I stayed in the other side of town, man. I stayed. I got my public transportation, went to school, went to work, and right back to my home. So I didn't hang out in nice restaurants
Hey,
or the upper class of Monterrey.
you'll like this. The last time I was in Mexico, I had to be at work at I had to get up at 6 o'clock to go to work at 7 o'clock. The last night I got home at 5:50 a.m. and laid down for 10 minutes in the bed.
Man, I remember those days. Can't do it anymore.
No, the people who know me and hear me talk about, my transformations, that's just one of the times where, I mean, I hadn't drank now in, since 2008. I said 2012 earlier. No, it was 2012. Yeah. 2012, I hadn't drank, a drop since then, but I'm still drunk.
I remember those days. We used to go to the Mexican restaurant right there in Montgomery, Alabama, go drinking and stuff together. Yeah,
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
we did. We did had a lot of fun.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
get back to you in the restaurant business. You
Yeah.
doing
So that's the
waiter.
time that you were talking about. So I moved to Eagle Pass. I was working as a restaurant, and then I met. There was in the library in this town in Eagle Pass. There was this gentleman. His name was Eugene. He was an older gentleman from Pennsylvania, and he gave free classes of English. So I will go over there every day, and he'll be, you can only come 1 hour a week. And I'll be like, well, I just want to learn more. And he was like, well, you can come, but you're like beginner level. So if you come after that, then you're going to be on the second, third, and fourth levels. So you might not be able to catch up. But if you want to come, you can come, just sit in the back, and that's fine. So I was there, I'll go to work and go to the library, and I'll be sitting there listening, trying to learn. So he and I, he saw that I had that intent and I wanted the drive to learn. So then, even after sometimes the weekends, he invite me over to his apartment. We'll put a movie in English. He will put no subtitles, and then he will talk about the movie. He will force me to speak, like, "Hey, so what was the movie about? What about this? What about that?" And then we'll go to restaurants in Eagle Pass, and then, as I said, most of people in Eagle Pass speak Spanish, but he would tell the waitress or the waiter, don't talk to him in Spanish, talk to him in English, and then so he'll force me. So I have a big debt to Eugene. He helped me a lot to learn English.
Yeah.
So I was there for 6 months in Eagle Pass, working as a waiter and learning English with Eugene.
That's outstanding.
You might keep going what I did after that.
Yeah, man, keep going. You don't need me to ask any questions. You're tearing it up. You're getting ready for the big stage, I think.
Yeah, so from there, my stepdad as well, he had a cousin that worked in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, the prison system in Texas. So they asked me if I wanted to go and work there. Of course, I said, yes, I do. It was better paid than being a waiter and also had state benefits. So I said, yeah, let's go. So he said, well, let's come to the academy. And then it's an 8-week academy. And if you pass, that's great. If you have good English, enough English to pass, you'll start working. If not, then you just come back next year. So that sounds good. Went to the academy, and it was this big auditorium, and there was this teacher speaking in all English, of course. And I understood maybe like 30-40% of what they were saying. But the good thing is that they'll give you this book. It was a really thick book with all the information. So then I will go back to my dorm and translate everything. I'll be translating like until late at night, just trying to figure out what they were saying in the auditorium. And I passed. I became a correctional officer. So I started working in Beeville, Texas, as a Texas Department of Criminal Justice correctional officer. I did that.
Were you wearing a cowboy hat while you were doing that?
No. The cowboy hats, they were the ones that are in the outside of the fields. I was in the inside with the
I didn't know
inmates.
about it. I know the Texas Rangers have them. I was like, I don't know if the corrections officers have them. They might in Texas.
Yeah, they do. If you are in the field, they have their hats and they ride their horses, and it's kind of country over there. But yeah, so I worked in the inside, so no, I didn't have my cowboy hat. So I was working with inmates, and that was something that I decided that I didn't want to do. It was like, no, this is not what I want for my life. I'm a very kind of cheery person. I like to smile. I like to laugh. And when you're in the prison, you
That's
cannot.
why I love you, man, because you always smiling and laughing.
Yeah, we cannot become kind of close friends with the members of the prison. And there was a lot of issues that happened in there. We had a couple of riots. We have a couple of people getting killed and stuff, inmates. And, that was not for me. I was like, no, this is not for me. But while I was in there, after 2 years of being there, I felt that I had enough English to go back to college.
Okay.
So I went to a small community college in the town. And after those 2 years, that's where I met Rebecca. My wife. That's where we met. And then after that, my plan was to go to a bigger university. But when I looked at the prices of the bigger university, I was like, I cannot afford this. This is too expensive. So I tried to apply for financial aid, and the government came back and said, you're making too much money. We cannot give you financial aid. Of course, with the money that I was making, I was paying my car, my apartment, my food. So I didn't have any leftover money to pay for college.
Yeah.
So by then, my brother, who had come to the United States with me, had joined the Air Force. So he told me about the Air Force. He said, hey, boy, if you join the Air Force, they'll pay for your degree and they'll pay for your college. So why don't you join?
So he was aiming high before you were.
Yeah, we pretty much followed the same path. And he was a correctional officer as well for a while.
Okay.
But after a year and a half, he got out and he went to be to join the Air Force. And I was like, the Air Force is not for me. The military is not for me. Over there, I don't want people screaming at me. I was thinking in my mind, the Marines, kind of like you. I was like, no, I don't want, people screaming at me all the time. And, of course, the Air Force is not like that. It's a little bit different, the Air Force and the Marines. They're both important. They both have important missions, but they're very different on the culture.
Yeah.
So once I talked to my brother and he told me, no, I work in accounting and finance. I work 7 to 4:30, weekends off. And of course, this was before 9/11. So, of course, the military were not at that time, we were not in the middle of a conflict. There was not much going on. So we didn't really deploy it as much. And I decided that maybe I'll go that route. So I joined the Air Force in 2000.
Wow. That's in 2000. So did you start out? Because I met you were at Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery. Is that where you started once you got through with your basic?
Yes. So I went to basic training in Lackland Air Force Base, went to tech school, and then my first assignment was when we met down there in Montgomery, Alabama, in Maxwell Air Force Base. Correct.
Yeah, and we went through 42 Saturdays out of 52. We did the Saturday accelerated program.
Yes, and that's one thing with the Air Force that they're really good. If you really want to progress and you really want to put the time, they're really good at developing you to progress to the next ranks and getting you ready for future leadership positions and stuff like that.
Can you share, Eric? I want to share something with you too. It's not take much time, but my brother's a corrections officer. I didn't know if you knew that. He's been 20 something years now. He ain't too far from retirement. He's getting old like me, but he's actually 6 years younger than me. But that program you were in the Air Force, do they still do that? Where you were like, you had it made. you were going to school one day a week and getting paid, right? For
yes, that is
you get
correct.
paid your salary in the Air Force, but your job was to go to school, and they were paying for that too. Do they still do that? Because that's some good stuff for somebody who might want to go down that path.
They don't have the exact same program. They have different programs than this one. But the one that I was in, it was called the Bootstrap program. And as long as you were within 1 year to graduate with your bachelor's degree, then that will be your job.
Wow.
And you won't be going to the office anymore. You just go to school for 1 year, and then you graduate, and then you come back into the military. Now you had to have the intent to commission.
Yeah.
Of course, to be an officer in the military, you have to have a degree. So you had to have the intent. Now, this was not a commissioning program. You did not automatically went to be an officer. You still had to apply to be an officer. But I know we went together for our bachelor's degree, and then you went and did your master's somewhere else or something. No, you didn't? Okay. So after you left, then I just stayed in the same university and did my master program, 1 year program, before even commissioning.
Yeah, so you had 2 years of getting paid to go to school one Saturday a week?
No, just the first year. So, and that's another thing. Like in the Air Force, like when I first came in the Air Force, my mindset was like, I just want to get my degrees and get out. I'm done. That was my, I'm just gonna get my degrees and be gone. So I wanted to start as soon as possible with my degrees, make sure that I had everything done. But of course, you have to go to tech school, and then when you come from tech school, you have to do what they call the CDCs, which are the tests for your career field. So you cannot go to school for the most part. I mean, this was my experience. I don't know how it is now.
Yeah.
But you couldn't go to school for about a year or year and a half after you join, and then you can go to school. So then I had to apply for this program. It had to be approved. So then I went to the Bootstrap program. And then I went to get my master's degree. After that, I came back to work and then went to do my master's degree, but I was doing both. I was working as a full-time in the Air Force active duty. At that time, I was a Senior Airman and going to school full-time.
Okay. So do you remember, can you share, what were you doing when you and I were going to school? I don't remember. What were you doing all during the week then? Were you hanging out, or were you focused, or what was going on?
I was playing racquetball. I was going to the gym. I was cleaning the house because Rebecca, I was gonna start speaking in Spanish because Rebecca was working. So then I had to clean the house. I was watching soap operas and stuff. and of course, doing a lot of homework too.
We had a lot of homework because we had to do, what we have to do? Two full textbooks in like six Saturdays or something like that.
Yes. I mean, and I was still learning English too. I mean, I'm still learning, but I'm always been a slow reader. And then if we have some type of assignment to write something, that would take me like 2 times the time that took you. So, it took me a long time.
And then we had the Mexican restaurant in between classes, me and you sometimes.
Yes, we had to distress.
Yeah, because I was working probably a lot of hours then those days. And I don't know. My nephew, he's in the Air Force. He's actually, I think he just got promoted to, is it Tech Sergeant? Is that an E6?
Yes.
Yeah, he's over in London, the London area in England right now, but he's coming home to Minot. He'll be in Minot up North Dakota in a couple of months. Yeah. So I know a little bit about some of the Air Force stuff these days, but not a whole lot. So you graduated, and so what enlisted rank did you get up to before you were commissioned?
To E-4, Senior Airman.
That's what you were when you got commissioned?
Correct. I had a line number for Staff Sergeant, but I didn't get to sign on Staff Sergeant. I just got commissioned. And the reason that I got commissioned is because, when we finished our degree, I went back to the work environment. I was working really hard, and there was an 06, Colonel Alton, and he would come and say hi every now and then. And I was scared of officers at that time. I was an enlisted member in E3, little O E3, and this colonel would come and say hi all the time to us, and really friendly guy. And he told me one day, he stopped by my desk and he's like, "Hey, Airman AB or Senior Airman AB, have you thought about becoming an officer?" I was like, no, sir, I never, that's like other level. And he's like, well, I think you'll be a great officer. You're doing great things for us. If you want to do it, let me know. We can sit down and I can tell you all about it. So I started thinking about it, like maybe I can be an officer. That had never crossed my mind. I didn't think I was good enough, I guess, to be an officer.
Yeah.
But he put that seed on my mind. And I went and talked to him, and he told me, if you become an officer, you can have a bigger influence into the stuff that we're doing. He started, mentoring me, and he's the one that really convinced me to apply to become an officer.
Okay.
And he supported me. He's like, you already have your bachelor's degree, but if you want your master's degree, then I'll support you. I'll talk to your supervisor, make sure that you have time and all those things. So that's what we did. I went for my master's, and halfway through my master's, he asked me, hey, AB, are you ready to apply to become an officer? I was, yes, sir. So I applied. He signed my letter of recommendation, and I got selected to go to OTS, Officer Training School. So thanks to him, I became an officer.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then so you went back to school again. What's the and I remember from reading your bio, your brother went in the Air Force before you, and then you became
Correct.
an officer before him. And then did you help inspire him to become an officer because you did, or was he doing it anyway, or how'd that work?
He was already on the mindset to go to OTS as well. He actually could have potentially become an officer before me, but he was deployed. Of course,
okay.
9/11 happened in the middle of all this. He was deployed to Afghanistan, so he had to take a break from his degrees. In the meantime, I applied to become an officer. I got selected and went to OTS. So then he came to my commissioning ceremony. He gave me my first salute. He was a staff sergeant at that time, so he gave me my first salute. That was awesome.
Hey,
And then
I got to ask you something, and I want to share this with the audience. I hope you don't really mind, but it's kind of a joke about your brother, but it's the truth about everybody else. But when he gave, because I read he gave you your first salute, you just shared that, right?
Yes.
So at way back then, when you got your first salute, because I'm on, later when we get to it, I'll talk about you had us come out and speak in Tucson to some of your group when we were out in California.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I have never forgot, and I ain't never seen it from anyone else. But when you and I were walking in that building and one of those airmen come out and saluted you, what did you say when he saluted you?
I said, thank you. And I returned the salute.
I ain't never seen that. And you told me you tell everybody, but I was wondering,
oh, yes,
that very first salute, did you tell your brother that?
No. I made my brother call me sir every time he spoke to me.
Hey, is your brother
lieutenant to you? It's lieutenant to you, sergeant.
Is your brother funny and cool like you?
Yeah, he is. He has he looks like he's a serious person. Like people scare of him because he looks like he's very serious, but he's not. He's very funny too. But he's not as I guess he is. He laughs a lot, and even more funny than me sometimes. But he has one of those faces that when he's focused and serious, then you could think that he's mad.
Okay, so actually thanking someone when they saluted you, was that a conscious decision at some point, or did you literally start right away? You just didn't do it with your brother because he's your brother.
Well, at first, it was very weird for me to be saluted because, of course, you go from being a senior airman to where you have a lot of all these grades, master sergeants, senior master sergeants, chief master sergeants, who you see as this huge entity in the base. And then the next day, you come in with a, border bar, with a second lieutenant bar, and then you have a chief master sergeant saluting you, and you're like, oh, man, it catches you by surprise, like, I should be saluting you, sir. So it's kind of weird that. So at first it was just like, but then of course, you understand that it's a way of showing respect for somebody, and I always I would say within the first year, after saying thank you to anybody that saluted me, and I saluted back sharply. So
that's outstanding. And I remember asking you this when I was out there in Tucson with you, but I think I remember the answer, but I want to confirm it. Have you seen anyone else doing that? You seen anybody else that says thank you when they're saluted an officer?
No, not really. Not really. Not that you say it, not really. I mean, of course they say how you doing, and usually, you say the greeting when you salute. Say good morning, sir. Good afternoon, sir, or the greeting of the day, and then you respond with the greeting of the day. So that's usually how it is.
Yeah, the former part, but you took it an extra step, man. That's good leadership, though. That is demonstrating respect for anyone. I mean, because that just that left a mark on me. I mean, I talk about it sometimes, and probably after us doing this interview, I remember it even better and talk about it more because that's just phenomenal. I told my nephew about it when we were over in England. We went over and visited him. I was telling him about you and how you said thank you. That's just one awesome way to connect, man. That's a big deal right there. So that says a lot about who you are. That's one reason I wanted to ask that question, because I want folks watching or listening to know that who you are as a person, because that's a big deal right there. So, all right, I done got fired up about that. That's some good leadership stuff.
Thank you.
So you can go ahead. So you got commissioned. You went to OTS.
OTS.
You guys call it OTS?
Yes, Officer Training School.
Where was that at?
Yes. Maxwell Air Force Base.
Oh, same place.
Yeah, same place. So I used to be in accounting and finance before going to OTS. So I used to go up to the OTS building and give the in brief for accounting and finance issues to all the OTs. We call them OTs, all the students going to OTS. So
Okay.
one week I was doing the briefing. The next week I was sitting down as an OT on the other side. So I trained the guys that give the briefing to us.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what I did. And when I got commissioned, Colonel Otten, the one that inspired me to become an officer, he's the one that commissioned me. So that was great too. Great mentor.
That's pretty cool. So what was that journey like growing up from, so 05, I mean, Lieutenant Colonel, that's 05, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how long did that take you to go from 01 butter bar, second lieutenant?
So I commissioned in 2004, and I guess I got my lieutenant colonel in 2000. What was it? 2020, I think. So 16 years or so.
That's a lot of climbing.
Yes. yes. It takes a little time.
And were you in one track basically? I mean, I don't know what you can share or not share, but so if I ask you something you can't share from because you're in the military and you ain't supposed to share some stuff, I know about all that. So
yes. And by the way, now that you're saying that, as we're talking about the Air Force and stuff, I want to, make the disclaimer that any of the views that I present are my own and have nothing to do, don't represent the views of the Air Force. So if there's anything that I say that people will be like, oh, is that it? No, that's not the Air Force. That's my opinions. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there.
Okay, that's cool, and I understand that. But can you share what track? I mean, were you in the same type profession the whole time, or did you change around? What were you doing?
No. So when I was enlisted member, I was in accounting and finance, as I just mentioned. But then when I commissioned them, I worked in contracting. So in contracting, what we did, we were the liaison in between the Air Force and the commercial sector. So any type of business, any type of purchases that the Air Force does with the commercial sector, of course, you have to go through a contract. So we purchase stuff at the base level. So computers, furniture, services such as ground maintenance or construction. Everything went through the squadron, and we do all the contract. We did the market research. We did put the request for proposal. We received the proposals. We reviewed those with the experts, and we chose who was going to do the contract, and when we administered the contract. And it goes from there all the way to weapon systems. So a lot of the big aircraft that you see from the Air Force, all the way from purchasing the aircraft to maintenance of the aircraft. So we work with Raytheon, Boeing, all these big corporations, Lockheed Martin, and so on and so on.
Okay, so that's go ahead.
Yeah, and then I became an instructor. So I was an instructor for a while when I was a captain. Went back to Maxwell Air Force Base. I was an instructor. And then because I spoke Spanish as well, then I was also in what they call foreign area officer. So I worked with the Latin American Air Forces. I spoke Spanish and I learned English while I was when I became an officer. I also learned Portuguese.
Oh, yeah.
So then I will go and travel to Colombia, travel to Chile, Argentina, Peru, and different places, and try to strengthen the partnership in between the U.S. Air Force and the Air Force from those countries.
Okay, that was an interesting job, wasn't it?
Yes, that was very interesting. So those are the different jobs that I did.
You had to exhibit, a lot of leadership, because we teach leadership as influence, and that's what you're trying to do. Go down there and influence everybody, everywhere that you were talking about. They're trying to influence you. You're trying to influence them, and you trying to connect with them, build relationships, and build trust, and all the stuff that's leadership. So
exactly.
I want to finish the rest of your story, but that got me thinking that I'd like you to talk about maybe right here some of the leadership, the development that the Air Force provided for you. Was it extensive to be able to prepare you to do that, or you just had to be a natural leader to understand what you had to go do to do that job?
Well, for that specific job as a foreign area officer, there's a master's degree that the Air Force gives to the top 15 or 20% of the majors. So if you're a major, you have to go what is called Air Command and Staff College, ACSC, and you can do it online or you can do it in residence. To do it in residence, you have to be selected for that. So I was selected to go through that route in residence. So I went to Maxwell Air Force Base, the Air Command and Staff College, and then within that degree, I was selected to do what they call the PASS program, Political Military Affairs Strategist.
Yeah.
So it was like a little minor within the master's degree. So that was my second master's degree. That's a lot of studying. So, on that degree, they teach you a little bit about international business, about culture, and all those things, how to make sure that you present yourself with different cultures, how to represent the Air Force. So after you go through that, then you have to do one tour on that type of position. And that's how I ended up in the 12th Air Force in Tucson, Arizona, where you were talking about that you visit me, working at the 12th Air Force and working as a foreign area officer.
Yeah, they call it the boneyard out there, right?
Yes, they have all these aircraft,
Thousands of them.
thousands of aircraft right there. Yes.
Yeah, that was neat. You rode me around out there. I could see them from the road, or somewhere I could see them.
Yes.
I can't remember. Yeah, that was neat. So, so then you got anything else about your Air Force to share, or are you ready to talk about you retired and moving on from the Air Force?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I like to mention, and working on this, when I was there, I was deployed to several places, but one of those deployments was to Colombia and other countries in Latin America. And a lot of people will ask me, like, why is the Air Force, United States Air Force, so strong? Why is the best Air Force in the world? And I think that the reason that is because the enlisted members in the Air Force are so well trained and so professional, which is like blue collar, the workers, the front lines. We treat our front lines with respect. We train them well. We make sure that they have everything they need to do their job. We groom them to grow. So I think that's very important. And I think giving that professionalism to our enlisted force is what makes us the best Air Force in the world.
Yeah, we're glad to have you guys out there. Y'all got a big team, man, and highly respected. We do have awesome military all the way around, but the Air Force, man, it's something special. And
yes, I mean,
it was cool. Go ahead.
That's every branch has its mission. I love the Air Force. I'm a little bit prejudiced towards the Air Force because I'm an Air Force guy. But of course, I respect all the military branches, and we have some rivalry, healthy rivalry between the branches. But at the time when it's time to go, we go together and we fight together as brothers and sisters.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I forgot I was going to mention to the audience, because I forget, we were speaking somewhere in California. I don't remember if it's San Diego. We did 10 half-day workshops for the Navy in San Diego. I don't know if it was that trip or not. And anyway, you invited us, had a small group of mixed ranks, right? There were enlisted and officers in that group that you asked us to come speak to. You remember if they got anything out of that talk? I can't remember if I asked you back then or not. Do you remember what they thought about it besides the I spoke country?
No, they loved it. They had a good time. And, in that time, because of course I was contracting, and at that time, I was not in a contracting position. I was on a foreign area officer position, but I still kept in touch with my career field, which is contracting. And some of the people that went over there was the commander of the contracting squadron for that base. He was one of the ones that was there, the ones that you're like, that guy's getting it. That guy, because you could see him like, oh yeah. So he was there, and then he brought some of the members of the contracting squadron there, and I brought some of the members from the foreign area officer career field as well. And I heard back from him, and he loved the talk, and he wanted to learn more. So I gave him your website. I don't know if he went and got any books or anything else, but they really liked it.
Yeah, that's awesome because it's kind of like a Rhea and I make a lot of humor sometimes, especially with probably you in the room. But I know you trying to be more professional, so we might not have got so out of hand over there. But it's still hard because me and you just laugh all the time when we're talking.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
anyway, that was real cool. And that was a special privilege. I appreciate you sharing all those folks with us. And I'm telling you, man, besides seeing you and Rebecca, and you took me to that good restaurant that had that really, really good salsa.
Oh yes, I love that's one of my favorite restaurants.
Yep. And now you've given us the recipe. My mouth's watering, man. When I start talking about salsa, spicy, my mouth starts watering. I can't talk.
Yeah, I give you a secret recipe. Don't give it to nobody else.
Can I tell them the pepper that's in it though? Because that's one of the key.
I'm just playing. You can give the recipe to whoever you want.
Yeah, it's got those serrano peppers, and if you make
Yes.
salsa and you're not using serrano peppers, you might be missing out because
You're missing out.
that I love that stuff. You know, Rhea, real quick side note, Rhea, I can't remember if I told you, but she started dehydrating them and grinding them up. And you know how they have crushed red pepper in the pizza joint?
Yes. Yes.
So I got crushed serrano pepper in a big jar on the table. I put it on everything.
Yeah, I know you sent me that text. I started thinking about it, like, man, I must start doing that too. That sounds like a good idea.
Oh, it's so good, man. Except when Rhea blends it up and chops it up. I mean, it about knocks her out because it gets in the air and that stuff's stout. All right, you done got me fired up now. I can't talk. My mouth watering. So you got to talk. Pick up the story again.
All right. So I don't remember where was I. So
we were leaving Tucson, I guess.
Yeah. So I was leaving Tucson. All right. So I guess let me see if there's anything else important. So from Tucson, I mean, and I was stationed also in Germany. So anyway, so I was a lieutenant. Let me go back a little. I was a lieutenant in Laughlin Air Force Base doing contracting. Then I went to be an instructor. Then I went to contracting on weapon systems on the big base in Hanscom Air Force Base. That's where we worked with weapon systems. So I was a captain there. Then I was deployed. I went to Saudi Arabia, deployed over there for a while. And then I pinned on major, and then I got my first command in Ramstein Air Force Base. So I was in Germany doing that, my first command.
How many people?
That was about 70 people.
Okay.
And it was half of them were local nationals from Germany, and half of them were U.S. Civilians, and I have about 3 military members. So that was my first command, and that was exciting. That was my first time I mean, you have leaderships in between. You know, they kind of groom you from, you know, as you go from flight chief to so on and so on, like team lead, and then you get to command. And then when you're in command, you're in command. So
you're the boss.
Now, that's why I had to really apply all my learnings about leadership. And okay, well, how do you influence people? How do you get people to do what you need them to do? You know, how do you make sure that, you know, you manage conflict in between people? All those things, you know, you have to really kind of dig in. And of course, that's where all the learning that I had through the years and reading books and stuff, that's where I was really, really able to apply it for the first time.
So tell me real quick, you're talking about reading books. So are you doing like I do? Like where I read books all the time now that I've discovered this stuff. I didn't start until 2012, but were you reading a lot of leadership type books on your own outside of all those classes the Air Force was giving you? Were you gung-ho about personal development, self-development during that time in the Air Force?
Yes, I don't read as many books as you, Mag, but I did read a lot of books. I did.
What's some of your favorite books, your leadership books that you just like they're the ones?
Well, there's many. One of the ones that we did, and we did kind of like similar stuff as what you do in the Air Force. You know how you go, you get a book, and they go chapter by chapter, and then they talk.
Oh yeah, like a book study. We call it.
Yeah, like a book study thing. So in the Air Force, we have, well, not the Air Force, but in this unit that I was in, we were going over the rules and tools for leaders, and I think that's by General Perry Smith.
Oh, I got it back there. I hadn't read it yet. It's one of my to read books back here on the back shelf.
So we kind of did the same thing. We have this workshop, and then you read a chapter or lesson or something, and then we got together. We talk about it. We share experiences, and that's how we do it. Then, of course, as a lieutenant, we have like a book. What's the name? A book review or a book that everybody read the same book, and then we get together and talk about it
after you've read it. Not
Yeah, after
chapter
we
by
read it,
chapter, but like a after action report kind of.
kind of like that. So then we will read different books, So the leadership challenge, we read
Yeah.
never split a difference. We read, how to win friends and influence people. We will read like all these different types of books, and then as a lieutenants trying to help each other grow, we'll put a book out there, we'll read it, then we'll come together as a lieutenants and the CGOs, because we had the CGO, which is the lieutenant and captain ranks, and then we'll talk about the book together, help each other and help each other grow. So that's what we
So,
did.
let me make sure I got that right. When the ones where you did like the way that we teach people to do, chapter by chapter, so to speak, the book study.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is that something that's formal? Like it's required? Somebody's got to do that, make that happen?
No. There was a colonel in one of the units that I was assigned to that decided to do that for us. They don't have to do it, but he liked to grow his people, so he decided to do that on his own.
So that's awesome. I'm glad I asked, and I'm glad you shared it that way, because out here in the civilian world, that's most companies don't require this. Even companies that bring us in and start trying to do it, they don't require it. Only people who are doing it are the folks like that colonel, the gung ho people who really get it, and they know what they've gotten out of it, so they want to help other people get something out of it. But it's really cool that you share that, because the best leaders in the military and the best Air Force in the world are doing the same thing that we're talking about, trying to get the guy out here in the paving company to do, or a construction company of some type. It's all the same principles. They apply everywhere. The good stuff applies everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at. So you were in Germany, where you didn't get in trouble over there with all that beer drinking they have over there in Germany, did you?
Oh no, I did go to Oktoberfest, but I behaved. I did good.
Actually, I imagine probably after you become an officer, especially the farther up you went, the more you become aware of who you are matters. Is that true? Or I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, character means a lot in the military, and of course, as an officer, you're the example. You're the leader. People's looking up to you, and if you, as an officer, are misbehaving, cursing or doing things that you're not supposed to be doing, then the enlisted members will see that and be like, okay, well, if he's doing it and he's an officer or he's the commander, then I will do it too. So if I were to go and get drunk and be doing stuff, crazy stuff in front of my squadron, what can I expect from the members of my squadron? So yeah, I mean, of course, the expectations go higher and higher as you go up the ranks. But
Yeah.
I mean, the expectations are there for every military member, as you know. Everybody is held to standards. But of course, as you grow up in leadership, then you are seen as, okay, but you need to make sure that you follow even closer. What I love the part of the job to where you recognize people for the great things that they're doing, and you mentor them to keep growing in their career. And one of the main jobs for me as a commander is to train my replacement. So I have these other young officers that are working for me, and one of my main responsibilities is to train them how to be a commander. So then what I will do whenever I have staff meetings, I'll always grab one of my CGOs, bring him with me so they can sit behind me and they can hear how I communicate with other commanders, with my commander. And so they start learning, okay, well, this is the type of things that Colonel AB does. And they can learn, of course, they can learn like, okay, I definitely don't want to do it that way, or he did this good, so I want to do this. Because of course I don't want it to be me. I want them to just look at what I do, grab what they want, and then put it into their own personality and be themselves. But at least expose them to some of the situations, some of the conflicts that we go through. So when they get to command, it won't be the first time that they approach those situations.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So now you're done with Saudi Arabia and Germany, and then where you go from there?
Yeah, so I went back to the school, to Air Command and Staff College. That's where I got my second master's degree. I went to the PASS program. Then when I graduated from that second master's degree, then I went to Tucson, Arizona. That's where we saw each other again.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I was a foreign area officer. I was the deputy, the vice director for A5 and other things that might not make sense, but I was a vice director of the foreign area officer type of deal. So I was traveling representing the U.S. Air Force to all these countries. and that helped me. A lot of things helped me on that position too. The Air Force also sent me to Harvard University to have a course on negotiations, so that helped me as well. So
you got a Harvard education, Eric?
I did. I can say that I went to Harvard for like 2 weeks, but I was in Harvard.
Hey, I don't know if you know, I went to Yale. Me and Rio, we didn't go for the education. No, we got to speak.
I watched the video.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. I did not the whole thing, but I watched some parts of it.
You saw me tell them that I was wearing my Halloween costume at the beginning.
Remember now. Oh, because you were all dressed up, huh? Yes.
Yeah, we were there in October.
You were wearing a suit that day. Yeah, I think that's the only time I've seen you in a suit, I think.
Every now and then we speak, you got to represent the customer, the client. So I told them that because I'm always authentic. It doesn't matter, if I'm with the blue collar folks or in that case, speaking at Yale to, a group of organizational talent development professionals from around the world. That's who we were actually speaking to at the Yale University's School of Management. And I told him, I said, hey, I grabbed my tie. I said, hey, when you see me in this suit, I just want to let y'all know I wore my Halloween costume for you guys. I'm dressed up like a white collar executive.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
All right. So yeah, that's cool. Harvard. I'm gonna if I knew you the Harvard graduate, I'd had to try not to talk country, but I really can't help it. You know what I mean?
Well, I think I have the same, well, not the same accent, but I have a strong accent too. So it's gonna be, I don't know if people's gonna be able to understand this podcast. They'll be like, "What did he say? No, what did he say?" Like, turn that off. We don't even understand what they're saying.
Hey, you ought to try to be me when I put a video up and it automates the closed caption. And I got to go fix like everything in there. It has no clue what I'm saying.
I know they're gonna have to put subtitles on this podcast.
Okay, so you back at the
So I was in Tucson from there doing the foreign area officer, traveling all around Latin America and stuff, doing all kind of negotiations and strengthening partnerships. And then from there, that's when COVID happened. So I got picked up to be my second command, and that was in Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas. And I was there for 2 years in command, and then I retired from there.
You retired from there, and now,
yes,
and somewhere in there you had some shoulder damage. I know I talked to you. Your shoulders, are your shoulders better? You seem to be looking like you all right.
They're doing better. I lost my external rotation capability, so I cannot rotate my arms, so I cannot really throw a ball anymore. I cannot lift it too high, but at least it's not as painful as it used to be for a while. I like mountain biking and I like kayaking and stuff. I think with that in common, we both like mountain biking. We need to go mountain biking one of these days together.
We do.
But I think all that pain and stuff, and of course in the military doing workouts and carrying equipment or whatever, that didn't help neither. So then when I retired, I started getting worse and worse on my shoulder and other things, and I think part of it is also getting old. We're getting old, Mac. We're getting old.
You are getting old. Surgery. When I saw, I was like, man, we were in school in 2002. That's what I said in that post I shared on LinkedIn. I said, Eric's getting old.
Yeah, the both of us. I think you're older than me, so.
Yeah, I turned 55 yesterday, actually. How old are you?
49. No, actually, I'll be 49 in September. I'm 48 right now. You see, I don't even know what age I am. I'm 48. I'll be 49 in September, so.
Oh, you got the big 50, man. You might have a big old birthday party for that. You might have to invite me if you have a big old party.
Yeah, next year we'll do something.
I didn't realize. I thought we were the same age. I didn't realize I was 6 years older than you. You're the same age as my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So what you doing? Have you only done one thing since you retired? What you're doing now, or is there some more steps along the way there?
No. So when I retired, I decided to take a little break because, of course, my older son, he was a senior, and I wanted to spend some more time with him, doing it in command and stuff. And even before I retired, we had to be on separate places because my wife moved to Texas. So Rebecca and the kids moved to Texas for a year before me, because we're in the middle of COVID and all those things, and we wanted the kids to start high school in Texas, or at least my younger son start high school in Texas. So we were kind of separated for a year. So I wanted to spend time with him before he went to college. So I took a break, And then after about a year break, then of course, during that time, I had my shoulder issue and other issues that I was working with the VA and with the tracker and stuff, with medical stuff. And then I was finally able to kind of move around. So I tried to look for something to do. I was getting kind of, I wouldn't say bored, but I wanted to do something, And of course, part of my mentality is that I had a lot of help from many mentors as I was going through my career or through my life, through my journey. So I want to pay forward, pay back. So I was thinking about what can I do. So I joined a nonprofit organization. I'm on the board of directors for that one. But also that was just it wasn't that much that I would do for them. So then I was looking for other things to do, and I found the Air Force JROTC program, which I had heard about before, but I had not really thought about, being an instructor.
Oh yeah.
So then I found the Air Force JROTC. I read about it. I liked what they were doing. I thought that inspiring young minds might be a good way to go, something that was worth doing. So I went ahead and got certified as an instructor, and that's what I do today. So
that's outstanding. Is that a division of the Air Force? Are you like, is that a federal job? How's that work?
Yeah, so the JROTC program, Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, is a Title 10 mandate. So the government says to all the branches in the military, you need to have, or you have to have certain programs in high schools around the United States or the nation, because we also have them in bases in Germany, in Korea, whatever we are. We always have for the military members that live there, we have what they call a DODIA school inside of the bases. So then they have JROTC programs in those bases as well at the high school level. Okay. So then we have every branch of the military has JROTC level. So then the high school that I'm in, which is in Lockhart, we have an Air Force JROTC, but then down the next town over, or if there were to be two high schools in the same town, the next one will be an Army JROTC, and then you have a Marines JROTC, and we have all those. So then what it is a partnership between the military branch, whatever it is, Air Force, Marines, Navy, and the independent school district or the school district of that location. So the school district has to request to the Air Force or the Army or the Navy to, hey, I want to open a JROTC program at my high school. And then there's an agreement that they have to sign, and then they open the program. And it's usually for every program is at least two instructors, one officer and one enlisted.
Okay. How many students are in that program in your school?
So right now we have about 90 something. Last year we have about 120. Okay. So yeah, it's usually when there's two instructors, it's about 100 cadets. If you go over 150, then you can have an extra instructor. So you will have 3 instructors. And then if you have over 200 or so, then you can have up to 4 instructors. And there's some programs, especially on places that is a big military presence, such as San Antonio, that they have over 200 cadets. There's some of them are huge. Now, where I am is not close to any military base. That's why it's a little bit smaller, but I love it. It's great.
That's awesome. So how many students are like in the high school, the total student population?
So it's 2,000.
Wow.
We have over 2,000 in that high school. So the way that it works in these programs, you have to have 10% of the school population or 100, whichever is less. So there's some high schools in really remote towns that they only have like 200 students. So then they can only have 20, 20, they will have ability with 20. I mean, they could have more, but at least 20 to be able to have a program. And so, yeah, and the way that it works, of course, you get paid by the school district. That's who you work for. But the Air Force is the one that creates the curriculum. Okay. So everything that we teach in there comes from the Air Force. And the Air Force also provides the uniforms, the equipment, and a lot of the things that we do in there. So I still get to wear my uniform once a week or once every other week. It depends what we're doing for that week. Sometimes we wear it twice a week. So I get to wear my uniform as if I was active duty.
Okay.
And the cadets, of course, have to wear the uniform at least once a week. And what I like a lot of it is that the mission of this program, the mission of Air Force JROTC, is to develop citizens of character. So we're not there to recruit anybody to the military. We're not there to training for war or nothing like that. Our mission and everything that we do goes to developing citizens of character. That's what we're there to do.
Wow. Do you know about our Blue Collar Leadership Academy?
No, the academy, no.
So I'm gonna just say it briefly right here, but we'll talk later because this ain't really spot for me to talk. I just want to share it with you. And anybody listening, they may have something similar that it would work in. But as you're talking about that, we've got 7.5 hour courses on our books, where we're speaking and teaching. It's got a 30-page downloadable fill in the blank deal. We filling in the blanks on the screen.
Yeah. Well, I hear about this in your podcast, but
yeah. So we set it up just like I teach, not to have scarcity, but abundance. So the way it's set up is it's on a subscription deal. So a school like yours, I don't know where the money would come from, but like that, the whole school, like you got 2,000 students, and that's actually the perfect size to give the example, because we've got it set up where for $2,000 a month, up to 2,000 people can be enrolled in it. So that would be like $1 per student to go through 7.5 hour courses for $24,000 a year. All those students could go pick any of these courses, and especially any of them that thought they were going into the blue collar roles, that'd be something they could put on their resume. But we'll talk about that later. But that's just, we tried to make it where it's so inexpensive, especially for blue collar organizations, because a lot of them don't do any development. So we set it up for that. But I'll talk to you about that later. That might be something that could help you guys when you started talking about character, because every one of our books, that's all it is. So
yes, that sounds good. I mean, although I am restricted to only teach the kids in Air Force JROTC, I cannot go beyond that. The Air Force restricts me to that.
You're right, because you said that a minute ago. They decide the curriculum, right?
Correct. So I cannot teach anything that is not within the Air Force JROTC curriculum, and I cannot teach anyone that is not in Air Force JROTC, Air Force JROTC cadet. So I'm kind of restricted a little bit into who can. Of course, anybody, I talk to all the students all the time, and if they need advice, if they're thinking about joining the military and they want to talk to me, I'll talk to them and I'll put them in contact with a recruiter. And if they want some advice or have some questions, I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody. But I cannot make a class and go teach other kids that are not part of Air Force JROTC.
I got you. So that doesn't make sense and fit for your organization there. So that's what you're doing now. So share. I mean, this is really awesome to have had you on, and I ain't done yet. If you got some more time, I'd like to ask you some leadership stuff, personal stuff. You got time or no?
Of course, all the time. Whatever you need, Mac.
So we got the foundation. Everyone can listen, but you've had an amazing drive. I mean, can you think something to share with folks? I mean, I'm sure you've seen people in life, personally and professionally, even in the Air Force. You've seen people under your command, I'm sure, that had a drive like you, and then you've seen other people who kind of doing the bare minimum to get through, which even in the military, the bare minimum is still pretty good. But anything you can share about what you think causes that drive, or why somebody should have a drive like that, or how do you get a drive like that if you don't have nothing going on?
Well, I think one of the things that are important as well is, to know the people that works with you, and so as you talk, because not everybody wants to be a leader. Not everybody wants to be a supervisor, I should say. Because it's different. And nobody wants to go to the ranks. Some people are happy on the position that they're in, and one of the things that you want to know is okay, how hard do I push this person to go to the next rank or to become a supervisor? I think they have a lot of potential, but some people is no, leave me alone. I'm happy doing this job. This is what I want to do. I don't want to do all those other things, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you're happy at and you like that position, I'll make sure that you are where you need to be. I'm not going to force you to do something that you don't want to do.
But you still develop them though, right?
Of course.
You develop them with intent to be phenomenal at that
what they
rank
do,
and in that job, right?
and to have a good environment and to grow in the things that they want to grow. So, and I'll help them out because I said, well, what are your goals in life? What are you looking? And some of them are within the job and some of them are outside of the job. So if I can help them in any way to develop in that other area, I will help them out. I have nothing wrong with that. And then if I end up losing them at some point because they develop so well and I find a job in that other area, that's fine. I mean, I'm all about helping people to get to where they want to get, not where I want them to get. So of course, to know that, you have to talk to them and stuff. But one of the things as well that the Air Force did for me when I went to squadron officer school, they teach you, or they make you, what's the proper? They develop to you, or they give you the tools to come up with your leadership style, and you have to do a full paper. What is your leadership style? What is that you're gonna do? How you're gonna, be as a leader? So you really have to start thinking about, okay, well, what is my leadership style? So under that umbrella, at least for me, I got grabbed from 3 different areas. One of them is, I guess, in a broad spectrum, meta leadership. I'm sure you heard about this, the Harvard about meta leadership, that you lead up, lead down, lead across and beyond.
Yeah.
So as a leader, you don't own, you're not it's not, as you say, it's all about influence. You don't only influence them, but you also have to influence your boss, because sometimes your boss might be doing something that you're like, I don't know about this. Of course, you have to do it carefully and with respect, but you're like, sir, have you thought about this? Have you thought about these other ways of doing things? And then you'll do it. Of course, you have to also influence across to your other squadron commanders, because they have a mission to do. So they come to me with, AB, I need you to do this. Well, I'm glad that you need to do that, but I don't know if I can help you with this specific thing, but I can help you this other way, or we need your help this way. So we have to first, of course, influence across and beyond, because outside of the Air Force, you have all these other companies that you also have to influence. So meta leadership, and then we mix that with serving leadership. So, of course, okay, with serving leadership, now you have to, I don't work, or the people that is in my squadron, they don't work for me. I work for them. So I'll make sure that they have all the training they need, all the equipment they need, and all the tools they need to do their job right. So anything, my job is to make sure they have all the stuff so they can go out and succeed and give the best customer service that they can give to everyone that comes to my squadron. And then within that, of course, there's the situational leadership. So you need to know the people to know, okay, where in this spectrum you are. So can I just delegate to you and let you run with it? If you have the knowledge and the willing to do the things, or you have the knowledge, but you don't really want to do it. So maybe I have to motivate you. I have to give you some drive, as you say, to get. You have all the knowledge you need, but for whatever reason you don't have the confidence, or you don't have you don't feel, you don't have the drive. But then how can I motivate you to get that drive? And a lot of people just focus on, okay, if you do something good, I'm gonna give you more money, and if you do something bad, I'm just gonna punish you. And people is not inspired by that. That might inspire for a little bit, but not consistently. So some people like more. I think that actually in the book, Drive by Daniel Pink, I believe.
Yeah, I got it back there too. That's a good one.
Yeah, they talk about the different ways to inspire people. Like independence. Like, some people like, oh, you just tell me whatever you want me to do and let me go. I don't want to be micromanaged. All right, so that's one way of motivating somebody. Giving them a purpose. That's the second one, and there's a third one, which is, what is it, Mac?
I don't remember that one.
Independence, purpose, and there was another one.
I remember I liked that book, but it didn't resonate. Like, stuff didn't stick. I don't remember.
There's three things. That, according to Drive, it's a good book. I really liked it. That motivates people, gives them drive, and those are two of those. I'm forgetting the other one. Will come to me. So purpose, mastery.
Okay.
Mastery, I think, was the third one. Mastery.
Mastering a skill.
Yeah, mastering the skill. So you give them something to, that they can get better. Of course, you don't want to give them something too complicated, too much out of the comfort zone, because then they get frustrated, and you don't want to give them some easy stuff neither, because they get bored. So you have to, kind of know the rails into, okay, how can I challenge these people, to get them to get better and see that mastery. So those are how you inspire or motivate or get drive to the people that has the knowledge but not the willingness, not the drive. And of course, you have people that has the drive but don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
So then in that case, how do you manage, or how do you lead that people? Okay, well, I know you want to go, but hold on for a second. Let's get you the training that you need. Let's get you the knowledge so we can let you go. But for right now, we need to, at least oversee. So I'm gonna give you a task, a mission, something, and then you have to come back and report and make sure that everything's going well. And the more you do it, the more I can see that you're getting it. Then I can let you go and go to the next sector. And of course, then you have the people that don't have neither drive or the knowledge. And then, of course, then those are the kind of more difficult ones to, like, okay, well, what is going on here? So you have to have those conversations and be like, okay, do you really want to be here? Is this something that you really like? Is this a good fit for you? And if it's not, then let's find you something that is a better fit for you, because, you're getting paid to do this job. And if you're not going to do it, then, it's not good for you. It's not good for the company. So we'll find you something better to do, something that is more on your will, something that you can be good at, something that you more have the inspiration to do, the drive to do it.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just want to have the drive and they feel uncomfortable. So you just have to talk and figure out what is the deal with them. So that's it. And then, that was the three. So situational leadership, serving leadership, and then meta leadership. So those are the three kind of big leadership mentalities that kind of came to me, and that's how I created my own leadership style based on all those three spectrums.
Yeah, they're lucky to have you. And Ria, my motivated, highly dedicated researcher in the background, Ria sent me the things from Daniel Pink, and I can't remember. You said whatever they are, they're autonomy, mastery, and purpose.
Yes.
Yep. So I didn't want to take credit for it. She sent me a text right here real quick. She's working in the background trying to make us look good.
Yes, good. I need to get Rebecca out here. Send me this stuff.
Yeah, man. So that's really good stuff, and that school's lucky to have you. I mean, anybody, and I know you speaking highly of the Air Force, and I think a lot of the Air Force. I've worked since I've been in this role. I've had a couple of opportunities to work with some. I think both of them were retired colonels from the Air Force, and they were not Erics. Neither one of them guys was a Eric. They wasn't even close.
Well, thank you.
You may not believe this, but we showed up to speak with this guy. I mean, I ain't telling his name or where he was at or nothing like that, but just a bad example of leadership, especially a retired colonel. And he had invited us to come to his event and to speak for whatever reason. He wanted us to speak. And so I forget, let's say it was supposed to start at 10 o'clock. We were there ready to go, and he was late. and then he didn't even care that he was late. And then he told us, you're going to speak at this time. And then he just kept on going, and we had like almost no time after we had driven quite a ways to be there. So,
wow.
I mean, it's just people, right? And a lot of times, I tell people, a lot of times in the military, because you got the Uniform Code of Military Justice, you got to follow to a certain level well, or you get in trouble. You got to lead to a certain level well, or you get in trouble. But there's a huge gap, people like you that can go above and beyond becoming what you have to become, and that's anybody at any level in military. But our military veterans, they have so much potential. I mean, most all of them really have a ton of potential. And what I try to tell people is, a lot of times though, what they're missing is, to be effective, what they're missing, unless they want to get better as a real leader, they're missing that UCMJ standing behind them. So when they get out in the civilian world, they don't have that position and title. Won't take you very far in the civilian world.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that, the military is very structured. They tell you, black and white. This is what you do. This is how you do it. This is your checklist. If you're a pilot, you have to run through the checklist. So most of the things in the military are very structured. They're black and white. This is the right way and the wrong way, and there's not much flexibility. So a lot of people becomes very rigorous. So when they get to a job in the outside of the military, they're like, okay, where's the regulation? Where's my checklist? And okay, there's no checklist. Just go figure it out. I'm like, so they find themselves lost sometimes.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the structure. But then it's good because sometimes they're like, you know what, this is the structure here. Let me build structure. Let me build ways of how we're gonna do this. When this happened, this is what we do. When this happened, this is what we do. This is how we respond. So you systematize the job, and I think that's kind of my worst too. I mean, I was in the military too, so in my mind, everything is about processes, about structure, about systems. Everything has to have a purpose. Why are we doing this? If it doesn't have a purpose, then why are we doing it? We're just wasting time. Is this driving towards our mission, towards our vision? And if it's not, then hey, let's get rid of it and let's focus on things that are actually going to move us forward.
Yeah, that's some good stuff right there. So I just like to shout out to any of the military veterans or maybe active duty that's going to be transitioning at some point. If you want to be highly successful in the civilian world, and this also for the civilian people who ain't never been in the military, go find some character-based leadership development, servant-based leadership. It don't matter where you are, what level you're at, whether you former military, active military, civilian. If you learn in servant leadership principles, you're gonna be highly effective. You agree with that, Eric?
Most definitely. Yeah, inside of the military and outside of the military, you need in both ways. Yes.
Yeah, I remember, the best leaders that I ever had in the military, they were always the ones who were like servant leaders. That, the military don't necessarily require you to be a servant leader. They require you to serve your team, and they're there, you working for them kind of thing, right?
And the thing in the military as well is that the mission comes first. Mission comes first. So a lot of people is very, very focused on the mission and they forget about the people side. And you have to have a good balance. The best leaders are the ones who have a balance. And sometimes I tend to be a lot mission focused. So I always wanted to have a deputy that balanced me out. Okay, you're more people focused. So whenever I'm like too focused on this side, you have to kind of pull me aside and be like, hey, sir, remember we have birthdays, or we have something going on. Let's have some type of event for the people. Let's do something to so because sometimes I just get like so focused. Okay, this is what we need to do, and I start forgetting about the other side. So I always have to have somebody to balance me out.
Yeah, that's a key thing to point out. I'm glad you pointed that out, because with the military, you got to accomplish the mission. That's
yeah.
We love the people, but we may lose some people, or that sort of stuff. But we got to accomplish the mission. Everybody in the military knows we got to accomplish the mission. And even if we love people, I mean, like Jocko Willink with the Navy SEALs, he talks about there's nothing harder. Even when you love your people, you got to send them on a mission. They ain't coming back, kind of thing. And that's some hard stuff. But you got to do it because you got to accomplish the mission. You ain't got no choice. Not if you're gonna win, and you need to win.
Yeah, I mean that's that's part of it. And when you join the military, you sign the dotted line. You know that there's going to be things required of you that's the service. That's part of one of the core values of the Air Force: service before self. So you have to go out there and do your service, and sometimes you have to put service before self. So we have the core values: integrity first, excellence in all we do, and was the one that I just mentioned.
Yeah, what's that?
Integrity first, excellence in all we do, and service before self. Yeah, those are the three core values that we have. So
yeah, so I'm hoping your boys will watch this all the way through. So if they do, you want to give them a surprise nugget here from Dad that you just like to share if they hear at the end, and also applies to any other young folks. You got anything?
Yeah. Well, I think with my kids, I've been talking to them a lot. I've been trying to get them to understand a lot of the things, especially also with in every sense, of course, on leadership and growth. I support anything they want to do, and finances as well. I'm trying to, because I think that's another important thing. And also for young people, this is good. I know that you at some point in your life, you decided that this is what you wanted to do to help people and to grow, and you decided to forego your truck and your big house and all that stuff to do that, which is great. But if you were to achieve financial independence, then you don't even have to worry about it. And more people is willing to do some things. Okay, let's go service because I have financial independence. I don't depend on a job anymore, so I can go and do the things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
So focus on that part too. Start early, start young, start investing young, start get your money to work for you instead of you working for your money. So hopefully as young as possible, you'll be financially independent and you can just go and do whatever you're passionate about, and you don't have to, start from scratch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And I was stupid why I had to give up everything, because I could have paid everything off. It could have been paid for. We made like a lot of money. And when I was consulting and Rio was working in the hospital, but I wasted it all. I wasted it all the time, all the time.
And that's, I mean, I know this is not a financial podcast, but we all make mistakes, and so I also learn about leadership, but learn about finances too. Learn about how to invest, how to become better at putting money aside, paying off your stuff, credit card debt. Learn about that. Don't have credit card debt, or use credit cards instead of credit cards using you, and all this type of stuff that is also going to help you to set you up for success on the other side. Because of course, if you have financial issues, you have stress, and then you're not as effective in your job. Because now you have to be worried about, oh, I have all these bills, I have debt, I have all these things. So I try to work on financial independence, and even in the military too, it's very important. I mean, a lot of people say, well, if you're in the military, you'll never get rich in the military. Well, maybe you won't get rich, but you can most definitely be financially independent by the time you retire and don't need to work for the rest of your life.
Hey, you might not get rich, but you can get ready, can't you?
You can get ready for sure. I mean, you get ready financially to make sure that whatever gap you have between your retirement and your life standards, then you can be ready to do that, and you don't have to go to work again. Of course, most of us, retire young. Still, so you have plenty of things to do, but then you can, as we said, go to do whatever you're passionate about. And you don't have to worry about, I need to find me a job to break that gap in between my retirement and what I need to have to be able to maintain my life standard.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And what I tell people, older people and younger people, because especially even more older people, because a lot of older people, they're looking for security and stability. That's what they want. And I try to tell them that ain't what you want. I mean, that may be what you want, but that ain't what you need. What you need is freedom and options. That's where life gets good, when you got freedom and options. And when you got freedom, when you got true freedom and options, you got security and stability. It comes with it. But when you get security and what you think is security and stability, a lot of times you don't have freedom and options, and it ain't security and stability if that company lets you go and all of a sudden you ain't got insurance, you ain't got nothing. So life can get hard in a hurry. So I always tell people, try to set yourself up for freedom and options. And you get to that spot, you can do what you want, when you want, how you want. And a lot of people, well, how am I going to get there? First thing I tell people, if you want to become wealthy in a hurry at any age, but especially young, if you want to become wealthy in a hurry, stop wanting everything you can't afford. Right?
Yeah, and that's a big thing. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you spend. So a lot of people they go out to eat every day, they spend on things that they don't really need or want, really, because but when you start being introspective and you're like, you know what, I don't really value brand name clothes, but I value going out to eat with my wife or going out to eat with friends and going to nice restaurants. So I'm going to stop spending on all these brand name clothes that I go to the mall. I'm going to start spending money on the things that I value the most. So you have to, of course, do some introspection and know what is that you value. You spend on that, and then you save as much as you can on the things that you don't value as much. And the money that you're saving, put it into investments, and then let it grow.
There you go, man. That's good stuff. So, man, this has been a really, really great show. I'm glad you come on, man. I think it's going to be, I mean, phenomenal. I know it is. I've been watching and listening. Do you have anything you want to share or say that I didn't ask you, or you wanted to make sure you said while you were on here?
Well, one thing that I have to say, but I don't have to say, but I want to say it, of course, is that one of the bigger things that also are a big drive for success is the partner that you choose to do it with. In your case was Ria. In my case was Rebecca. I met Rebecca before I came to the Air Force, and she's been with me. She's been behind me all the time. And of course, in the good times, she was always there, but also in the bad times, and that's what I needed her the most. So, of course, a big shout out to Rebecca. Without
She's
her,
awesome.
I would not be who I am today. And she was always be there to back me up. And of course, she's great too. She's doing great stuff. She's done a lot of great things in her life. She had a good transformation as well. So I love her to death. And of course, I love my kids to death. So
yeah, that's what people say. Behind every good man is a better woman, right?
Of course, and that is a true statement.
I know it's true in my case, and probably know it's true in your case. Rebecca's awesome, man.
Most definitely.
Outstanding. So thank you very much for taking, an hour and a half of your night to invest. And I hope some folks get some value out of this, because everybody's unique on this show. Everybody's got a different story, but you had powerful story, man, from Mexico City, and your dad, made some bad choices and passed away. And then your mom had to deal with that, and to Lieutenant Colonel, retired from the U.S. Air Force and all of Harvard University. And man, that's awesome. I mean, you're setting a great example for everybody, but for your children, most importantly. I mean, that's a big driver, I know. So thank you, man. You brought some high grade character to the Real People Getting Results show today.
You're welcome. And yeah, and every achievement that I had in my life is because of great mentors that I had, and people that drove me and have great advice. And I know that that's some of the job that you and Rhea are doing, trying to do that for other people. So thank you for doing that.
Yep, and Rhea's been putting my phone number up there. I put my phone number out. Anybody can call me. Anybody that sees this, 334-728-4143. And I don't charge you to talk to you or mentor you or anything like that. And it's a privilege to get to do that. And that's part of my freedom and options. I got the freedom and options. I don't have to charge people to talk to them. And it means more when, you're talking to people. That's why it means a lot. Yeah. I mean, you ain't getting paid to do this, but you're doing it because you want to help people.
And as they're talking to you, if they would like to talk to me or some advice, Mac will give you my number too, to those that he can see that really, really want to help and they're really driven. I'm willing to do that. So I'm not putting my phone number out there, but if you want it, talk to Mac, and then he can direct you my way.
Yeah, you get me first, and if I can't help you out, we'll get Eric on the line, do a 3-way call, see if we can't double team you.
I mean, I definitely like to help out and stuff. So, if you think that there's somebody out there that will benefit from any advice from me, or if I can help out in any way, let me know.
All right. Well, thank you, Eric. We're going to wrap it up. And thanks, everyone, for listening. Hope you got some good value out of this. I know I did. I had a lot of fun doing it, too. And it's so good to see you. I hadn't seen you in a while. We don't video talk. We talk on the phone. And good to see you healing up and all that stuff. So thank you again.
Great seeing you, too.
Yep. Thanks for everybody listening and watching. And if you got value, share this with your friends or somebody that needs some help. That's all we want to do, is help people make the world a better place, because our world's suffering from leadership malpractice pretty much everywhere at every level. So thank you, guys. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen, or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.